Good afternoon, race fans, and welcome to the show. I'm Brett the Jet in the booth with Turn 3 Racing Network, and I tell you what, folks, hopefully you came excited because I know I am up here in the booth. We are at the place for racing, that's right, Daytona International Speedway, to kick off season number 5 of the Riptide Radio Next Gen Cup Series. And man, oh man, we have now over 40 cars at the speedway ready to do battle, and only one driver can walk away with the checkered flag, so it is going to be a great show. I'm excited, like I said before, folks. Hopefully you are, and it is going to be awesome. Also with the 802 boys, they don't only run the pavement ovals of the NASCAR series, they also have a second series being broadcasted on the Turn 3 Racing Network, and those are some small block East Coast modifieds with the 358s in them, and those are with our buddy Roger Muth, who we actually have here tonight to say a couple words here.
We're at the Daytona International Speedway, but just in a couple of days, we're going to stay right here in the great state of Florida. We will head to Volusia for the season opener for the 802 358 Modified Series, brought to us by GStone Motors. The third season of small block racing here on the iRacing.com with some of the biggest names from the Northeast, along with drivers that are challenging from all over the country. 16 weeks, the 358 Modified Series will crisscross the iRacing.com platform from Volusia all the way to Lernerville, Charlotte, Oswego, all over Weedsport. How about Lima Land? How about Eldora? Can't forget that Ohio track out there at Eldora. Before we wrap things up all the way on April the 1st, and I'm telling you, race fans, it's not a joke, but it's the Oswego 100 for the season finale for the GStone Motors 358 Modified Series. Join us on Tuesday nights here right on the Turn 3 Racing Network, 8 p.m. Eastern Time. We will bring you the live dirt racing action with some drivers from the Dirt Car Series and some of your local short track heroes who will be able to pick up the win this season in season number 3, because there's a little bit of money also on the line on the dirt side of things. Our friends over at Dirt Car, they have put up some money for the top 3 drivers that pass the most drivers in their heat race respectively throughout the 16-week season. Brett, we start our season next week. Tonight, though, I thank you for letting me come on here and talk about the 802 Modified Series coming up here in just a couple of days. It's time for you, though, just about ready to kick things off here at Daytona.
Alrighty, thank you very much, Roger. I'm excited to watch that series, as that thing always puts on a great show with those dirt races. I mean, what do you expect for this next season? Some up-and-comer, or?
Well, I can tell you there's a lot of seasoned veterans in the 358 modified division. Some of them running big block modifieds here in the Northeast. Some of them running the small blocks. Some of them even running the what we call a street stock or a late model division here. But man, you talk about drivers that are going to be looking at, Brett, I'm looking at your roster of field over here tonight on the asphalt side of things here at Daytona. You got a couple drivers from the dirt side tonight competing here at the Daytona International Speedway. Will one of them maybe be the Kyle Larson, or if you even want to say a Kyle Busch who's dabbled into the dirt rank kind of things? Or is it going to be some of the veterans you have over here? John Ross, a veteran with your series, Brett. I've seen it a handful of times. He's gone to victory lane, but you got some wily veterans also from the iRacing.com side of things. Jim Ott's here, and I just looked over here. I see a lot of your rookies, that Gateway Motorsports this season, Brett. They're going to be some of those drivers to keep an eye out here and maybe shake things up in their rookie seasons.
Alrighty, awesome. Roger, thank you for the insight there. I'm going to go let you go and get down to your VIP booth, let's say, and enjoy this race here tonight. But once again, want to thank you for jumping on and shouting out their Tuesday night series.
Well, Brett, we can't wait for Tuesday, just like I know the race fans out there tonight cannot wait to see what happens here at Daytona. Good luck to all the racers. Thanks to all the race fans that are tuning in out there. And, Brett, have yourself a good one as I fly by you.
All righty, sounds good, Roger. We'll look for you at the after party. All righty, folks, that will do it there with one of my good buddies there, Roger, of course, doing the Tuesday night shindig. And right now, it's already qualifying time, folks. We got cars getting up to speed here, and maybe let's check out one of the seasoned veterans that we kind of heard a little bit about. A lot of rookies this season, but first we got to start off with the good old what we know and what we like. And first driver we're going to take a look at here getting up to speed will be the Riptide Radio number 9. This is Jeff Barefoot. So Jeff, in this series of the kind of next-gen NASCAR Cup Series, Jeff has 50 starts, making him the third most all-time in this league. As the 9 will hit the start-finish line, Barefoot will go on the clock here. And as you can see, a very long lap, 2.5 miles to get around this speedway. And we'll see drivers either decide on running the top line on their first lap or just keeping that thing glued to that yellow line. I mean, that's where the speed will be at when it comes time, if drivers decide on if they want to go for it on their first or second lap. Here we see Jeff down on that double yellow line here, and so that means, of course, looking at this being his best lap here. As we take a moment to wait for times to come on in off the board right now, it looks like Johnny Barker with the best time. Barefoot will go across the line. He will go second quick, just above a 50-second lap, 50.01 for Barefoot. We'll get the timing and scoring up on the screen here right now. Still, though, Johnny Barker with the best lap, only driver in the 49s at the moment. So we'll look at the top 20 on the left side of our screen. Of course, Barefoot, best of 2 laps. So Barefoot on the second lap here. He will look to try and improve from that 50.01. New quick time 93, now 83, now the 22. So time's flying on off the board. Second lap for Barefoot, though, not as quick. So right now, Barefoot will hang out in the 13th position. One car rolling here on his first time lap. It's a 21 GStone machine of Rob Lowe. Lowe out here. Another veteran out here a lot. And He has the record of the second most starts, only driver to have perfect attendance so far, the Iron Man himself. That would be the 6th of Johnny Barker. And so far up at the top, a little bit of shakeup. Levi dropping down to 3rd. And it looks like Steve Ritter right now with the quick time with that 49.9. So Rob will hit the stripe, and so far not the lap he needed, a 50.08. That will slide him all the way down to 34. So as you can see on the left side of your screen, folks, times extremely close. It is a matter of thousandths of second to determine where you are rolling off here tonight. I mean, first through 37th here are separated by less than 0.2 of a second. I mean, that is incredible to see this kind of bunch up in the times. And right now, Lowell across the stripe does improve to second quick. Not quite good enough for Ritter, as that was a great lap by the 21 machine. It looks like at the moment he will start outside of front row. Let's take a moment and give a shout out to this guy, Steve Ritter of the Leaf Guard number 16 machine, another sponsor of this series. And with that, Ritter walking away with his own award. That's right, folks. Leaf Guard has come on and partnered with the 802 Riptide Radio Next Gen Cup Series to hand out the Pole Award or the Quick Time Award, whatever you prefer. And that's going to the Leaf Guard driver himself, Steve Ritter, in the number 16 Ford Mustang. So big congrats to Steve here tonight. So that will do it here for qualifying. Ritter, Lowe will start our front row as we get ready to head down now trackside and go over tonight's starting order. So here we go for 100 laps around Daytona International Speedway. Let's go through tonight's starting order. He is newly acquired from that Wolfpack Racing. He's got the Leaf Guard on the car, was very strong last season. I want to double check my stats, make sure I am correct. But last season, this driver walked away with 2 checkered flags, hoping to make it a few more by season's end. It is the driver of the number 16 Ford Mustang. That is our pole sitter, Steve Ritter. Starting to his outside front row will be the GStone number 21. Also part of that Wolfpack race, and that team got a lot stronger in the offseason. They look to have a front row lockout. Starting on the outside front row will be the 21 of Rob Lowell. Then we head over to row number 2. Rolling off in the P number 3 position will be the 54 of Bryce Shoemaker. And two's outside will be the double deuce, the 22 of Levi Hellman. Then rounding out the top 5, we'll go to the driver of the number 11. That is Kenny Reel. Rolling off P number 6 will be the 31 of Victor Fugger. Then starting P number 7 will be the 90 of Steve Holmes. Rolling off 8th will be the 83 of Kyle Peacock. Then starting in number 9 position here tonight will be the 55 of Mike Babinchak. Then going to the end of the top 10 will be Robert Denton in the 93 machine. Rolling off P number 11 will be Isaac Mock in the 47. 12th going to the 6 car of Johnny Barker. 13th will be the driver of the 58. That is Justin Branaham. Then rolling off P number 14th will be the 81 of Dan Dill. 15th is Dustin Coggin in the 42. 16th will be Eli Raposa in the 46. 17th going to the 97 of Jeff Pogo. 18th is Austin Smith in the 33. 19th will be Eric Holly in the 7. 20th will go to De Lomaga in the 28. 21st is Frank Zigan. 22nd is Cliff Daniels. 23rd, Cameron Patterson. And 24th is Ronald Loosely. And here we go, folks. We get ready to go, and we are green flag racing. So that would do it for the top 24 starters here tonight. As we see the field take on off 2 by 2 throughout the whole entire field. As it is Ritter on the low side, Lowell up top. Rob having a better run. He will dive down in front of his teammate. Now that will leave the 22 of Levi Hellman. Hellman will get a great push from the number 80 machine, and Hellman will go out in front here early. He'll dive down to the low side, so now that will leave the 80 machine. Sorry, I believe that's the 83 in time and score, 80 on the car. As lap number 1 is in the books, that will be led by Victor. Sorry, it's 31 in the time and scoring, as that will pop up here this time by so Victor Flugger out in front in the 31 in the time and scoring, or the 80 on the car. Now it looks like Kyle Peacock in that 83 Burger King machine trying to make a move here. He will get a nose ahead going into turn number 3. So alrighty, these guys jostling around in that track position. Seems like everyone mostly staying with this pack, and that is going to be key here tonight, as you do not want to lose this pack here, because you can quickly fall out of that draft. And especially with these cars, the pack runs a lot more efficiently than if you try and run by yourself. So everyone gonna have to try and stay with that. It looks like maybe a few cars back outside of the draft. That'd be like Brandon Guerin, John Ross, Emilio Romano, and Christian Delgado. I know a lot of those guys are on the same team, so those guys probably banking on an early yellow, an early big one, maybe trying to stay out of it here early. As we see a little bit of aggressive move by Kenny Reel. Reel will shoot down from the high side to the low side. He says he wants this race lead, so now Reel will lead the bottom side. Kyle Peacock currently heading the top side, as we are already 4 laps into tonight's race. See that pack, we look a little bit further back. So these guys still in with the pack, but you know, way further back. Like I said, folks, these guys riding on around, making sure they do not caught when the big one does happen. It's not a question if the big one will happen, it's the question of when. As it looks like one car out on his own. It looks like the 81 of Dan Dill, as we have our first caution of the evening on the speedway, and it looks like it may have involved the 9 car of Jeff Barefoot. Yeah, Barefoot with a little bit of nose damage, so we're gonna try and find the replay here, see what happened to bring out our first caution flag of the evening. Looks like it starts with the 32 of Robinson and the 5 of Ronald Loosely there, and maybe just a little bit of 3 wide action gone wrong. Then on the bottom side, you see Brower get turned, and then that inside line all stack on up as we try and maybe get a little bit further shot here as we try and see everything that happens. Looks like bottom side little bit of stack up, a little bit of bumper tag, but overall it looks like only Jeff Barefoot and the 19 machine go on around. As those guys that hung in the back like the 31 of Delgado just squeaking on by through before getting caught up in this first yellow flag. So we're going to take a look one more time at full speed there. And yeah, looks like just 3 wide racing gone wrong for that 5 and the 32. And looks like most everyone just getting through unscathed. I think if at most probably about 3 to 5 cars with some damage. I think only about 2 of them with heavy damage. So with some of these guys getting involved here, we're going to try and maybe get a word with the driver of the number 9 machine of Jeff Barefoot, try and get his thoughts on the incident. Maybe learn a little bit more about this season, the series sponsor, that of course being Riptide Radio. Hey Jeff, do you got a copy? It's Brett the Jet in the booth here.
Yeah, I got you.
Alrighty, man. A little bit of craziness to start the race. I mean, what'd you see out your windshield? It's hard to see here, and it looked like a big checkup on that inside line.
Yeah, I was just cruising here in the back, and cars get together on the outside and hit the outside wall and come back down. So it was nowhere to go.
Yeah, tough break early, but you got any damage update for those watching at home?
I'm not going to use a fast repair yet. I'm just going to.
Yeah, that's a smart move. Try and save that fast repair for a later time, because like I've been telling the viewers, it's not a matter of if the big one will happen, it's a question of when.
Yeah, I just hope they can keep up.
Yeah, I think as long as you're in the draft a little bit, you should be able to stay with the pack even with a little bit of damage. So with this now, you go to the back. I mean, how does this change the game plan for the race, and what kind of game plan did you have before this first yellow?
Well, it don't change. I was at the back anyway. That's where I qualified, so I'm just biding time and trying to stay out of trouble. But long ways to go, so we'll see.
Yep, still a lot of laps left to be had here at Daytona. And yeah, Jeff, once again, really want to say our thanks for coming on board with the title sponsorship of Riptide Radio. If you wouldn't mind, maybe let the viewers know a little bit more about Riptide Radio.
Maybe next time. I can't. Sorry.
All right, no problem. We'll catch you at a later time. Well, we'll let you get back, and good luck, Jeff.
All right, thank you, Brett.
Alrighty, folks, that was the driver of the number 9 machine. That was Jeff Barefoot giving us some updates. As we try and catch the rest of the field here and see what everyone else is up to. So that time we just missed it there, but this season in the 802 Riptide Radio Next Gen Cup Series, we have the choose rule, so everyone out on track can choose higher or low depending on where they want to start. And here at Daytona, it doesn't really matter what lane you start in, they both get about the same restarts. It's about the people that you want to work with. So we'll see teammates a lot of times line up nose to tail from each other. So front row, Kenny Reel in that premier number 11 machine will lead us to green flag to his outside. 80 on the car, 31 in the time and scoring. That is Victor Flugger out there. So Flugger and Reel front row on the restart as the iRacing pace car ducks down pit road. And here we go, folks. Getting ready to go back to green flag racing action. Reel on the loud pedal, and we go back to green flag racing. Man, Real got a really good start. Where does he go? He'll go to the top lane, heading into turn number 1. Top lane, top 3 at least, all formed up very well on that start. You can see that top lane pulling away from the rest of the field here. So that inside lane, I believe now led by Eli Raposa, gonna have to try and get some momentum rocking and rolling and try and catch back up to these cars, because that high side is boogieing. As we see more drivers head up to the top lane. So maybe that first quick yellow, you know, kind of set the tone for the race. Everyone going to be a little bit more conservative as this, I want to say almost top 10 now, all single filed out. First side-by-side pack is now back in P number 10. As Raposa has jumped up to the top side now. Also, second pack is forming, being led by Steve Ritter. So this pack side by side for the most part of it. So 2 distinct packs already formed up here at Daytona as we approach now lap 10 of 100. So yeah, top 9 all single file working very well together. We have about 10th through 20th in this second pack, all 2 by 2, and then the third pack, like I said, being led by Ritter, looks like starting to single file out, maybe trying to catch now the pack in front of them, because being too wide does slow you down a little bit compared to being all single filed out. Almost in the wall, maybe just a little bit. Raposa was very close to it off of turn number 4 that last time by, but so far that car looks all clean. I don't see any decals, don't see any of that W decal scratched off that right rear quarter panel. As the 5 car that time got a little piece of the wall there into turn number 1. So coming into tonight, a lot of new faces here at the 802 iRacing League. I think the last official count that I heard, about 28 new drivers taking the green flag for the first time here tonight, which is awesome to hear. I mean, this 40 car field is awesome to see out on track, all racing against each other, and excited to see what this season happens. Of course, some very well-known veterans, like I said before. This 6 car, Johnny Barker, the Iron Man of this series, has made every single start so far, 58 of them to be exact. Also some other veterans, last season's champion, John Ross, shattering records last season. Last season, he went on a tear to win 9 races, a season record. So Ross hoping to pick up right where he left off right now, hanging out towards the back, all the way back in 36th position, sliding on around here at the moment, just trying to let those laps slip on by. Then another veteran out there leading the way here, the second most wins last season, belonging to this guy in the number 11, Kenny Real. Real hoping to keep momentum from last season and continued into this one right now, doing just that, out in front, leading laps, getting a bonus point for the lap led. But of course, everyone looking at that finishing order and those finishing points, because that's where the big payout is. 1 point per position depending on where you finish, so it is all going to come down to where you end up when these checkered flags fall here in this season. Of course, this season having 21 races, so a full calendar, as these drivers will tackle all sorts of different tracks from tonight, as we see at Daytona, a super speedway. Next week, we'll head to kind of an intermediate-ish track of Dover at a mile in length, but you know, Dover, if you guys have driven it or seen racing there, drives a little bit, at least to me especially, a little bit more like a short track. Then we head to North Wilkesboro, which will be a true short track showdown. I am pumped up for that. Then we head to the intermediate dog leg of Texas Motor Speedway. Of course, this goes through all the different from road courses, short tracks, intermediates, and then end at the Phoenix Raceway for the championship night. Also, in other cool league news, like we mentioned before, Roger Muth coming on saying some few words about their Tuesday night series being brought to you by Roger and Turn 3 Racing Network on those Tuesday nights with the small block East Coast Modified. You won't want to miss that. Those guys always put on a great show, and I tell you what, always a great watch. As we are now 16 laps into this 100 lapper at Daytona, and right now everyone minding their P's and Q's. We see the second pack still side by side, kind of catching the pack in front, but mostly staying about that 4-second mark here. Further on back, a kind of fourth pack has formed with a few damaged race cars, one being the 28 of Dave Lomaga, who we're looking at, the other driver, the 9 that we took a look at as well and chatted to, of Jeff Barefoot, and the 21 of Rob Lowell also in this pack. One car out there on his own, the 23. He has no draft, no help, and soon here going to be put one lap down by our race leader, Kenny Reel. As up in this first pack, a little bit side-by-side racing is Isaac Mock, trying to defend that P number 4 spot from Kyle Peacock. Looks like we'll be able to do that. At the moment, biggest mover is this 31 machine of Christian Delgado. Delgado started all the way back in the 31st position, now up into the P13 mark. So Delgado was at first hanging around the back. Maybe he saw how close he was to that first yell and said, you know what, I want to be towards the front of this pack. As we see him get a big run on Raposa there, we'll give him a big bump down this super stretch as they will head now back into turn number 3. So a little bit of 3-wide racing here as we see the Ross right in the middle of 3-wide. So people still trying to figure out who they want to race with, who they want to race by, as we see the 99. The 98 of Cliff Adams there, scraping the wall and losing a couple spots there in turns 1 and 2, able to get back into line in front of the 54 Shoemaker. So it looks like for this most part, this second pack has formed up to the rest of the field besides this top 10 here. And you can see a little bit on the left side of the screen that delta from pack number 1 to pack number 2 has continued to increase. Now the 46 of Raposa about 5 and growing to 5.5 seconds behind. So you wonder if there's any sort of urgency yet, because we are now a fifth of the way into this race still a long way to go, still have some pit stops to be had. I mean, I assume that's what most of these drivers first and foremost are worried about. It's just how much fuel, what lap they want to pit on, and who they want to pit with, as we see 3 wide here for a moment at the front of pack number 2. Let's jump on board with let's do the 54 of Bryce Shoemaker, see what it's like inside of this pack as we jump on board. As you can hear there, these drivers, even though it's wide open in qualifying, in this pack, they're really working that throttle and especially that brake pedal, trying to keep that momentum, trying to keep the space and where they want to go. As you see 3 wide in front of it, it starts to get a little sketchy as we now see the 55 to the inside. Oh boy. We got a helmet cam now on the 55 as he tries to thread the needle 3 wide here. Look at how close these drivers are getting here tonight. It is tough, and oh, here we go. Oh man, right on board inside the wreck here as the 55 goes on around, and we go under the yellow flag here for the second time here tonight. I felt it brewing there, folks, and it finally uncorked here on lap number 23 as everyone tries to get their cars righted and back to pits, but we'll try and see what started this yellow here. As we see, I don't know exactly who started. We'll have to watch back in a slow-mo replay, but quite a bit of cars involved there as they enter the tri-oval. We'll try and get a better view here, as that was not a better view. Maybe this camera will have it, but not sure if the 55 came down or the 29 came up, but I think a little bit of netco involved there, and you can see all the drivers collected. One of them, Johnny Barker, the 88, gets a little bit of front end damage. The 30 of Ken also involved there, spinning it in the wrong direction. So quite a bit of cars involved in yellow number 2 here tonight. One good news though, if your favorite driver is involved in a yellow flag, iRacing does have a feature of a fast repair. What that is it pretty much resets the car to a completely fine, completely clean, 100% car. So drivers do have one of those in their back pocket if they need it at any time this season. Also, with pit stops, these drivers this season have 100% fuel. Last season they ran on 80% fuel tanks. This season 100, and of course every track they go to, they will have 3 sets of tires over the wall as we see a busy pit road as the 11 of Kenny Reel will lead pretty much the entire field down for their pit stop. We'll wait to see who wins the race off pit road. Looks like the 83 car, Kyle Peacock, first off of pit road. Peacock with a shorter stop, I think just right sides and a splash and go. So we'll see how the 83 car's handling. Kenny Reel off of pit second, Dustin Coggins third, then Victor Flugger in fourth, and John Ross round out the top 5 off of pit road here. Now here on lap number 25, we hit a quarter of the way through tonight's race. 2 yellow flags so far, and we'll see if the intensity kind of ramps on up, because so far it hasn't been any sort of crazy moves that have caused the yellow. It seems like just running out of space with the cars around you here to kick off the 2 cautions here tonight. So this time by, we see the field choosing at the start finish line. So we'll see drivers duck high or low depending on where they want to start and what lane. So Kyle Peacock will take the high side. Kenny Reel will take the low side as the lights are extinguished around the Daytona International Speedway. That means we are going green next time by. Want to give a shout out to the guys and maybe gals in the YouTube chat lands showing support to their favorite drivers. Looks like we got someone rooting on Heilman out there and Jason Wiley. So if you have a favorite driver, let me know and we'll try to get them a little bit of screen time out there. But first, we got to get these guys back up to speed with our second restart of the night. Alrighty, here we go, folks. iRacing pace car will head down to pit road. Now Kyle Peacock will have control of the restart, can go anytime inside that Geico restart zone. It looks like we'll get away with a pretty good start. Everyone else pretty spread out behind him here, so should be interesting to see what kind of runs people will have. As we look at one of those drivers mentioned, we got 13 of Jason Wiley. Wiley at the moment up 13 spots from where he started, just outside the top 15, sending Pete number 16 on the low line here, trying to get around Steve Ritter. And that will move him into Pete number 15 as he tries to catch draft of the number 5. Another guy mentioned in the chat lands, that was the 22 of Levi. Levi having himself a great qualifying effort. Started row number 2 right now, just outside of the top 10. As he gave a big shot to the 33 of Austin Smith there. You saw Smith get a little bit wobbly as the top side trying to get some momentum, as the 93 will try and duck up there and throw a block. And oh man, contact there as Hillman will get a piece of the outside wall. That will slow up that line big time. Luckily, everyone having their head on their shoulders, everyone checking up nicely. Awesome job by everyone to avoid a yellow flag there, as that could have been very bad very quickly. Out in front, new race leader. First time out in front, it is the 42 of Dustin Coggin. Coggin currently being pushed by the 62 of Frank Zingen. Zingen out here with the out of the woods craft. number 62 maybe think about 3 wide for a second. I think maybe he just got off on his push, but now that opens up the inside lane with some big momentum as Peacock will take back the lead here as yellow flag out on the speedway, trying to catch where it happened at, but we go under caution flag for the third time here. As we try and take a look maybe around, oh yeah, there it is. Lomaga gets turned pretty hard into the outside wall right before heading into turn number 3, and then further on back, it looks like the 81 of Dan Dill gets turned around. And maybe, I think, Jeff Pogo. So 2 separate incidents to bring out this third yellow flag. We're going to take a look here again at the first one. Try and see what kind of happened there. As the 7 got a push. That is Eric Holly, and yeah, it looks like got a push and got to the wrong side of the 28 and just turned him around, and then there we see the 81 spinning around on the backstretch as well. So another, luckily, light car count involved in the yellow. I think only about 3 cars with some damage, but that will slow down the field for the third time here tonight. As we see a little bit of pit road games going on, John Ross will stay on out. Kyle Peacock would duck down pit road and only bring a handful of drivers down, as most everyone's staying on out this time. So we'll have to see how those drivers that pit can get through the field here tonight. Alrighty, some more shout outs in the YouTube chat lands with people cheering on some of their friends and family. We got a shout out for Austin Smith and Cody Brewer. And it looks like some more support for Levi. So a lot of Levi fans out there. We love to see it, as Levi at the moment sits just outside the top 10 in P number 11. We'll try and get a look as he comes on by, see about that right side damage. So far, I would say that car looks pretty clean, so Levi should be good to go here, as I don't see any damage on that race car. Now, as we are under our third yellow, I gotta give a shout out to quite a few things. The biggest one being Riptide Radio, and as you can see there's even a QR scanner to get the Riptide Radio app. That is right. You can listen to some of the best music. And here's a little bit of info about Riptide Radio. Riptide Radio is the sounds of the salt, sand, and sea from Ocean Drive in North Myrtle Beach, South Carolina. You can find the best of beach, boogie, and blues music. So got to give a huge shout out to Riptide Radio for coming on board with the title sponsor of another season. Of course, they aren't the only big factors that makes this series possible. Of course, going to Leaf Guard of Vermont out there with the big support, especially with the Quick Time Award, as we're seeing drivers choose here on the front stretch, and top 4 taking the outside. That leaves 5th Kenny Reel all the way to the inside. Interesting moves there. Another big one, BG Graphix coming on board this season and adding to the purse payouts, able to at least pay at the moment through the top 10 in points. So huge shout out to those guys. Also some other ones that make it possible out of the wood crafts. GStone and the Stone dealership, and then DTL Custom Graphics. As we take a look high above the speedway from our blimp cam, And that is what our field is looking like at the moment. Like I mentioned before, top 4 all taking the outside lane. I believe if I had to guess, they are all part of one team, trying to find all their names here together if I can. Yeah, it looks like quite a bit of them part of one team. So here we go. Lights are out once again at the Daytona International Speedway. John Ross will lead the field to green flag as we now wait for the iRacing pace car to head down pit road. And as you can see, folks, it's starting to get darker out here. Sun is setting here in Daytona, Florida. And the fireworks are just about to go off here as we go back to green flag racing action. Great restart from the front 2 of Delgado and Ross. Kenny Reel will quickly jump up to the high side. Same with the 4 of Jim Ott. With that going up top, Larson will say, all right, I'll go lead the bottom. So Nick Larson in the 2 machine. He's another veteran coming on for another season. Larson will lead the inside lane, top side, going to last season's champion, John Ross. And at the moment here, all 41 cars that started here tonight are out on track, have had 0 drivers take it behind the wall yet, as we now head to a third of tonight's event in the books, 34 in, with 65 to go. So top line definitely has a lot more cars, a little bit more synced on up. I see that as the preferred line at the moment, but all it takes is a handful of drivers jump down low, and that could change very, very quickly, as we can see some pretty heavy bump drafting for the front 2 here. These guys trying to get out in front and stay out front here. Cars starting to single file on out, about the top 7 or so single filed out. Then the first one side by side, Nick Larson now up, back up on the top side. So it looks like the W8 machine of Matt Taylor, first car leading the inside lane, 1 car jumping out of line up near the front. Looks like now 2 of them, so drivers starting to try and make their way back up towards the front. One driver that jumped out, Isaac Mock, the other Victor as well. So not everyone is content to just ride around the top side. The key is getting enough cars, because as you can see, they drop down to that inside lane and then bleeding positions as they fall further and further back here. Starting to form up kind of 4 distinct packs here in this kind of third pack here. We are looking at Brandon Guerin in this Barstool number 1 machine. Guerin, of course, with the BG graphics on the back tailgate of that number 1 machine. He kind of leads pack number 3 here at the moment. Guerin currently sits in the 23rd spot, so these guys putting down laps. Then we have the guys that pitted all the way back in 31st, Kyle Peacock, trying to get this high lane rolling. So once again, we see multiple different packs of drivers depending on their game plan and who they kind of want to work with, because I think deep down they all know that we still have at least one more yellow, so it's not time to go crazy with the pushing and trying to catch up with people, but you do want to stay as close as you can to this lead pack, as it is a lot of cars and a lot of momentum. So John Ross still out in front. Kenny Real trying to challenge that though. Real having the inside rocking and rolling. Real being pushed by Levi in that 22 machine. So it looks like these guys up in front ready to mix it up a little bit. Kenny Real back out in front. Levi Hellman in second now. As Real will jump to the top side, that will leave the bottom open for Levi. Levi will take over the point down low. Kenny Real first car up in the top lane. And I'm sure all you guys getting a little bit sick of my voice, so we talk a lot about the sounds, especially with Riptide Radio. Well, let's do some of the best sounds here. Super Speedway Racing Flyby. That's right, folks. It's time for the Turn 3 Turn It Up. Man, oh man, you gotta love some cars flying by at over 200 miles an hour. As we saw a little bit of three wide action for a split second out in front. Hellman got shuffled back to, I believe, the fourth car now up in the second row. Now once again, Move Victor leading the inside lane in the number 80 or number 31 in the time and scoring. As we get closer and closer to the halfway point here tonight, folks. Racing up in front has been electric. And I think it's only going to get turned on up as laps continue to click on down here tonight. Front pack 2x2 for the entire pack. There's one car having a little bit of connection issues. This is one track you do not want to see that, as Ken gets stuck in the sucker hole of 3 wide, the 88 of Chris Taylor, having to make a little bit of evasive maneuvers. Taylor able to get back on the speedway, but will make contact with the 62. 62 will go around, but somehow save it. Holy smokes, what a save by Frank. Oh man, hang on to it. Heads up, everyone, as he got sideways with the banking, able to get that car rolling, but will lose a ton of time, and more importantly, he will lose the draft. So a tough break for the 62, but a heck of a save, as that could have been very, very bad, as now leaders will come up on a lap car. That is the 28 of Lomaga. Yeah, that was a good save by everyone in there, including the 88-62. Man, oh man. That was a pucker moment, and I wasn't even out there in the car. As with that little bit of calamity in this first pack, that has allowed the top side to once again reclaim dominance as this inside lane trying to get formed back up here. So quite a bit of shuffling there in the last couple laps. This is what the second pack wants to see, mostly formed on up on this bottom side. These guys are catching the pack in front, so they need to get about half a second to that next pack, and then they'll start getting a draft from the next car. So that's about the mark you want to be at the speedway. Not fall back a half a second if you can, for sure a full second. By then you absolutely have zero draft help, but half a second you'll definitely start to feel from the car in front of you. As topside rocking and rolling, one car trying to make that inside line work is the 43 Ally, or the 58 in the time and scoring. That is Justin Branaham. Justin having to make a little bit of evasive maneuver as a 5 will make a last minute dive down to the inside lane. That is Ronald Loosely. Loosely now trying to lead this bottom side, but top side where it is at in pack number 1, as most cars up there now single file on out. Like I said before, they're back in that mindset of, hey, we just got to keep on clicking off laps here tonight. Now we see the 40 of Branham starting to get that inside line working back together as a 3-car pack, and right now those 3 cars working very, very well together. So we're gonna have to keep an eye on those 3, as it seems like those guys pretty efficient when it numbers not on their side in terms of drivers in their lane. So a little bit about our driver out there leading the way, has led a bunch of laps here tonight, has been out front for a lot of them. That is Kenny Real from Eansville, Indiana. He's part of the Piston Broke team, and his sponsor on the car, you see it there, also partnered with Turn 3 Racing Network. That is Premier Setups, as they will try and get around the 55. As a lapper, it looks like everyone will get clear of him, at least in pack number 1. Who knows about the other packs? As we get our 4th yellow. A little bit more about Kenny as the field will slow on up here. Some big iRacing accomplishments for the number 11. Podium 500, NWP 400, and the Florida 500. Favorite type of racing is super speedway racing, and he's putting those skills out to use here tonight, out there leading a lot of laps. Favorite driver of the number 11 is the Earnhardts, both junior and senior. Favorite real life track car combo would be the Gen 6 at Daytona, and a most memorable iRacing moment, winning the Podium 500 heat race. Goals for the season of Kenny Real: last season, second most wins, 6 on the season. His goals for this year, some big ones this time around. Win the championship, because last season he was runner-up, hoping to finish 1 spot better. And right now starting off in a great way. Let's see if Kenny can keep it on up. As the field will catch the pace car, we're going to try and find out what brought out our fourth yellow flag here tonight. As we take a look at, oh man, even a little bit further on up, let's say. As it looks like it starts with the 1 and the 30. Both make hard contact towards that outside wall. 23 will also get a piece of it. And maybe we could, there we go, get a little bit better camera shot there, cameraman. As we try and take a look here one more time. See what happened, as a little bit hard to see there, as it looks like the 30 made a move a little bit too late trying to get in front of the 1 and just didn't time it right, and that sends the 30 machine again hard into that outside wall. Will collect Barefoot and a couple other drivers. As you can see, that left rear completely broke on that number 1 machine of Brandon Guerin. As everyone else coming in later trying to make big time evasive maneuvers. As we jump back live, it looks like a lot of cars down on pit road. Looks like only 2 cars staying on out here at the moment. Everyone else down, getting some fresh set of Goodyear tires, as well as filling up those cars with that Sunoco virtual race fuel. So Kenny Reel was leading at the halfway point. Of course, halfway point means cross flags here tonight. Halfway home, halfway down in tonight's season opener at Daytona for the Riptide 250, being presented by Riptide Radio. As we take a look here at the rest of the field, getting back up to the pace car. I believe in 2 laps we'll get the choose again. So man, oh man, a lot of racing action here early, but that was only the first half. Now starts the intensity upward as we head into the second half of tonight's racing event. But before we do, a quick word from our partners over at Premier Setups. And you can find out more with the link in the description. That will take you over to their website. Even if you don't want to buy anything, a click would show how we are supporting them and show what we can do for them. So we'll be right back here after a quick commercial. Alrighty folks, we head back to Daytona International Speedway. Lights are out. Most of the choosing has been done for the field. And now Steve Holmes in this MotorTech number 90 machine will lead the field to the green flag on the inside lane here. So should be a good one here as we kick off our second half here for green flag racing. Looks like we do have a few retirements here tonight. Looks like Dan Dill in the number 81 machine has called it a night. Ariba Ken still down on pit road in the number 30 machine. Everyone else still out on track, still doing some laps. Actually, I believe the 98 of Cliff Adams also down on pit road as well still. So here we go, folks. Back to green flag racing action. Steve Holmes will lead the field back to green as the iRacing pace car will head down pit road. Holmes will enter the Geico restart zone and can fire off at any time. And here we go, folks. Back to green flag as these drivers will go through their sequential gearboxes and get up to that 5th gear. Kenny Reel out in front, getting a great push by Christian Delgado. Those 2 and 3 as Levi Hellman will get clear of that inside lane. So once again, Reel leading the high lane, and that seems to be the place to be here at the moment. I was keeping an eye on this car. This guy's making quick work of the field. That is Rob Lowe in the 21 GStone machine. As we get a yellow flag here at 42 of Dustin Coggins facing the wrong way here on the backstretch. Looks like the 93 and maybe the 32 also getting some damage here, but that will be a quick yellow flag here for our 5th yellow, as Coggins will get that car back rolling here. We'll try and figure out what kicked off that yellow flag here. So Coggins in the middle of 3 wide, the 32 of Cameron Robinson up top, and yeah, I think just running out of space on corner exit, and kind of the 93 of Robert Denton, just an innocent bystander at the wrong place at the wrong time. And that will be the 3 cars involved in this yellow on lap for our 5th yellow. As, yeah, very tough to tell there if the 32 came down or if the 42 was just a little bit too high to their liking, but and you know, leader gets a lot of coverage in any race, let's say, but it always takes a special skill, especially at these super speedway racing, to be the pusher, to be able to line up, keep that momentum, and keep that car in front of you. So I think we'll try and dial up Christian Delgado out there in our 2nd position here and see if Delgado can give us some insights and see how he's doing here tonight. Hey Christian, do you got a copy? It's Brett the Jet in the booth here.
Yeah, I got you, Brett.
Alrighty, man. How is this 31 machine running here tonight? It seems like it's very fast and pretty good at pushing. It seems like whoever's out in front of you, you know, is out there in front of the field.
Yeah, it definitely feels pretty good out here. You know, these sim motion guys definitely give me a good piece to drive, and yeah, I feel like for me I love pushing here at these super speedways. It's something I'm more comfortable. I'd rather push than lead the pack here. But yeah, I'm really familiar with Kenny. Obviously, we raced here last year in the 802 Riptide Cup Series, and I raced with him a bunch here. Obviously, I got my teammate John Ross back here in 4th, who can be with me. But yeah, happy to be up here towards the front. Happy we can stay out of the chaos, at least for this first half.
Yeah, and at the moment, Christian, biggest mover by far. You know, you start deep in the field, now up 39 positions from where you started. I mean, what was the key to that besides staying out of the wrecks as the obvious stuff?
Yeah, you just have to know where you are, know the people you can trust at the time, and work with the people you can work with. I had my teammate Ron kind of push me when that first pack kind of got out. I had my teammate Ron pushing the outside there, and we were slowly catching them, and then we got that caution, which really helped us back up. But it's just about making your moves at the right time, knowing who you can race kind of a little bit harder with, and knowing who you have to be a little bit more patient with, and knowing that, maybe I just have to wait a little bit and wait for some help to get around some people. But that's what we did. Just knew the people who we could work with, and have been slowly working our way up towards the front here.
Awesome. Glad to hear it. Now, to touch back at a point you mentioned, being a pushing car is very difficult, very limited visibility. What's the key with being a push car? Because you seem to do it very, very well every time we come to a super speedway.
That's just about trust. I feel like if you know that you can push that guy out as hard as you can, if you go like onto a hood camera or something, you see that little rear view mirror, that little camera that the next gens have. I usually line up my front end with that camera and just go to town. And luckily with Kenny, I've raced with him a bunch. John Ross, I've raced with a bunch. Levi, I've raced with a little bit in other leagues. And in my opinion, it's about trust. If I know that guy in front can hold a good line, and I can just kind of sit in line right behind him and push him out, then I really feel confident enough to give him as much energy as I can. But when it comes to someone I don't know as well, you kind of have to just feel it out, right? If they can't take it, then you kind of have to aero push them out. But luckily for the race I've been a part of here tonight, I've been around guys that I feel pretty comfortable pushing pretty hard.
Yeah, that is a big key, knowing who you're racing around. Well, Christian, before we let you go here quick, anyone you want to give a quick shout out to or thank you to?
I just got to give a huge shout out to the guys over at Sim Motion Racing. Thank you guys for putting this all together, and go use code 802 for a 5% off. You check out there at ussimmotion.com.
Awesome stuff. Well, we'll let you get back to it, Christian. Good luck with the rest of the race here.
Yep, thank you so much.
Alrighty, folks, that was Christian Delgado in the number 31 machine as we get ready to go back to green flag racing action, as the iRacing pace car will head once again to pit road. Kenny Reel leading the field to green flag. To his inside will be Nick Larson, and Reel on the loud pedal. Here we go, folks, getting back wound up to that 200 miles per hour where these cars are absolutely flying on by. Delgado's right, it does come down to a lot of trust here when it comes to super speedway racing, knowing what kind of line the guy in front of you likes to run, how much you can really push, because there is even aero pushing in iRacing where you don't actually have to hit the car's bumper in front of you, but if you can break that aero barrier and be able to really push someone, that's where a lot of speed can be had, and where Reel and Delgado have been really, really good here tonight together. So already quickly two distinct packs forming. Reel and Larson out in front of pack number 1. Then we go back to Jason Wiley leading pack number 2, being pushed by Rob Lowell. Riley, Lowell, Raposa making up pack number 2. As heads up, we got one car sideways. It's the 47 machine. Somehow those guys all keep it facing somewhat the right direction. Maybe not, as we got calamity over in turn number 2. Heads up, everyone else. And we get a few more cars involved, but that started way, way earlier with the contact with the 47, and then just continued to go into turn number 3 for our 6th yellow here tonight. As we'll try and kind of guess where the yellows started here. Oh man, a lot going on at different parts of the racetrack here tonight. As So we got to go back maybe even a little bit further. As we'll try and slow it on down here and take a look at the 47. Already kind of out of sorts there. So we'll try and go a little bit. Man, still already. So here we go. So the 47 maybe looks to the outside of the 2. And then, yeah, tries to slide back in front of the 54 and doesn't quite get the shot, let's say, square in the bumper. That will send him around. We'll include the 80 machine, but I'm more curious a little bit further back what kind of happened with, let's say, like the 19 and whatnot, because these guys all still rolling. And then, wow, that's a weird one. The 19 just shoots way up the racetrack there really quickly, and then everyone else having to just get on the binders trying to shoot an open gap wherever they can see one. And I tell you what, it maybe sounds easy to slow down a car, but from 200 miles an hour, it is very, very difficult to do so. As maybe let's try and ride on board with the 55, see what he saw trying to slow on down from this yellow and take a look at it, maybe full speed if we can. So that's the contact that sent the 47 on around. Then further on back, here's what it's like trying to enter and a track that calamity's going on in front of you. Whole bunch of evasive maneuvers trying to get on those brakes, and especially on that apron. It is very, very tough to slow down those cars. And this banking at Daytona, just like we saw there, tends to send the race cars down the speedway once they get slowed on up. So that's exactly what happened there in the 55 of Mike Babinchak, excuse me. Nowhere to go by the end of it. So quite a bit of cars involved in that one, at least getting some sort of damage. I want to say at least 10 or so. But here we go, choosing once again top 4, taking the top side, and then most of the cars behind electing that bottom side. But yeah, still a ton of takers for the top side here. All those guys working very well together. And say, why change it on up? They're going to continue to try and work together. So Kenny Reel out in front for most of the race here tonight will once again lead the field to another restart. We'll have Christian Delgado right there on his back bumper. Delgado has been one of the best pushers we've seen here tonight. The question is when it comes down to this last couple laps. I mean, where does teammates go out the window and you start looking for that win yourself? I mean, it all goes through these drivers' minds at some point. It's a question we'll find out for sure in the next 38 laps. Alrighty, the field re-racked, restacked, and getting ready to rock and roll. The iRacing pace car once again heads to pit road, and here we go. Can he reel into the restart zone? He will get on it, and we'll get these cars back up to song once again. As the field will come directly on by. So it looks like at the moment 33 cars still on the lead lap here tonight with less than 40 laps to go. It's still anyone's race. Kenny Real would hope that it's not, but when it comes to these super speedways, anything can happen at any time. Top 10 rundown at the moment. Currently leading the way here is the 11 of Kenny Real. Then second will be the 34 of Christian Delgado. Running in the third position is Levi Hellman in the 22. Fourth going to the 44 of John Ross. Rounding out the top 5 will be Frank Zingen in the 62. Then in 6th is the 16 of Steve Ritter. 7th will be the 2 of Nick Larson. 8th is Jim Ott in the 4. 9th goes to Jason Wiley in the 13. And rounding out the top 10 will be Dave Mayberry. So that is the current top 10 rundown. Is one car way slow. Not sure. I believe, yeah, that is the 9 of Jeff Barefoot stopped on the track, and not sure what happened there. We saw Rob Lowell very slow as well, trying to get back up onto the racing surface. So we're going to see what happened to the 9 of Barefoot. Oh, Barefoot just tried to make a move out behind the 28 a little bit too late. Luckily, no one else hit that number 9 machine. Everyone doing a great job at wreck avoidance there and able to come away pretty clean with a yellow at Daytona. You don't really hear that too often. As man, oh man, intensity continues to rack on up here, and I've been seeing a lot of love for this guy in the YouTube chat land, so we're gonna maybe try and get a word with him, and that is the driver of the number 22 machine of Levi Hellman. We'll try and get a word with him here in just 1 second. Levi, do you got a copy? It's Brett the Jet in the booth here.
I do got a copy.
Alrighty, Levi. So, pretty good race for you so far. I mean, tell us what you've been seeing out that windshield of that 22.
Dude, I've been seeing a lot of things, going high, going low. Been looking through my mirror, trying to see what to do. Just cruising until we get to the part where it matters.
Yep, and don't want to ask for an exact amount, but how soon do you think we'll see that intensity ratchet up to that 100%, let's say? Because right now I think most people still in that mindset of just clicking off laps.
I'm about at 80% right now. I mean, I'm making sure I'm staying up front to stay out of the wrecks that are happening. Pretty much just cruising behind Kenny and Christian. Once we get to about maybe lap 85, I'll start trying to get up front more and lead the race maybe.
Okay, sounds like a good game plan, and for that game plan kind of going to the front, I mean, what kind of choices, what kind of strategy do you have in your mind? Any drivers that you are trying to work with here towards the end?
I mean, I got my team, Blue Oak Motorsports, so we're going to all try and get together, hopefully. I got a couple in the back right now. I know Christian will work with me some. I don't know a lot of the others up front, but either way, I'm going to try and stay up front and get the win for my first race here.
There you go. As one of the rookies, I think 28 of you guys in total new to the season. I mean, what's kind of the expectations? New season, new series. What's the outlook for the 22 here?
I plan to run every week. I mean, I'm a full-time driver. Plan to go for the championship as well. Just go at it.
Awesome, awesome. Well, Levi, we had to get a word with you because you have a lot of supporters out there on the YouTube broadcast. I saw a lot of love for you in this 22 car, so I figure we got to at least chat with you, get a word from you. So before we let you go, I assume you got to thank them, but anyone else you got to give a shout out to before we let you get back to your team?
Yeah, shout out to YOB Racing, shout out to SimMotion for letting me join them and their team and letting me join this league.
Alrighty, awesome. Well, great to talk to you, Levi. Best of luck here as this race continues to unfold. Hopefully you can stay towards the front.
Yep, thank you.
Alrighty, folks, that was the driver of the number 22 machine, Levi Hellman, out here tonight. Like I said, that interview, all thanks to you guys for all the comments out there in the YouTube chat land. So appreciate all you guys and the interaction. And look at this, here we go once again, another restart here, another Kenny Reel choosing the outside. I mean, who would have saw that coming? But the driver now leading the inside lane will be the 62 of Frank Zingen. So Zingen with the Out of the Woods Crafts machine will lead the front row on the inside here as we approach 30 laps to go. And we kind of heard a little bit of a hint there. Lap 85, we'll see drivers flip that knob all the way to 100%. At least that might be the plan for a driver that we just chatted with, but a little bit of time even to get to there as we get ready to send him back off to green flag here once again. Alrighty here, folks, we get ready to rock and roll here once again. Kenny Reel inside of the restart zone will fire on off. Levi will be the push car for the number 11. Looks like pretty even start for the front row as they will head into turn number 1, 2 by 2, but you can see inside lane further on back did not get a good start. Only 3 cars down there for the most part. Then you gotta go all the way back as this pack has spread on out immensely here early. I mean, look at how far cars are back. But as long as they don't lose the draft to one another, they will stay in the pack and still can make up a lot of time in a hurry. As this pack will get single filed on out for the top 9. Then we head to 10th and on back here for pack number 2. That is still 2 by 2 for about half of it at least. And you can see a lot of cars ducking to the top side. It seems like that's where people want to be at, and that seems like a very, very popular spot here. And a driver back inside of the top 10 here has been getting some love as well from the YouTube chat lands. That being the 13 hashtag Team Raymond, Jason Wiley. Wiley out here, of course, running a lot with the 802 guys. Another veteran coming into tonight. Right now, running right where he needs to be, up in the first pack and up inside of the top 10, let's say. Going over to the stat sheet, let's say Wiley with the 4th most starts of anyone for the 802 Cup cars. He sits at 46 after tonight, will be 47. Wiley picking up 1 career win. He has 8 top 5s under his name, hoping to add another one by the end of tonight. And then a whopping 29 top 10s. He has an average finish of, it looks like 10.2. And for those finishes that finished inside of the top 10, he has done so 63% of the time. So Wiley, a great driver, and so far hoping to kick off season number 5 on the right foot. But here comes that second pack. They have a lot of momentum. Oh, 1 car, very late block. I think that was Zingen. Will throw the block on Victor. Victor having to make evasive maneuvers and fly down pit road and rejoin the pack. Hopefully that flag will get cleared, because he was definitely forced on down there, as he will try and not lose the draft. But looks like we'll probably, when it's all said and done, it's a few cars bouncing and off the wall up here right in front of him as well. So a little bit of chaos, but so far the green flag still on out on the speedway. So that second pack was coming with a full head of steam. With that definitely broke up a ton of momentum, as everyone once again fighting to get back up on the top lane. We see Ritter able to get back up to the top side now. Jim Ott in the Ford machine will jump down low, but if he doesn't get any help quickly, he will quickly fall to the back of this single file train that now extends probably all the way to about 15th or so on the speedway. So Odd losing a lot of positions very quickly, and that can show you the downside of pulling out of the draft. Even if you get the run on the car in front of you, able to get door number to door number with them, you still need a lot of help from some friends to even think about moving in the right direction as opposed to the wrong direction, as we saw there. So this second pack still duking it on out. The first pack now up to about 17 cars in total in this first pack. Then we go back to the 90 of Stephen Holmes all the way in 20th, trying to lead this second pack here and make sure that they don't lose this first one, if in fact we do go green for this last 26 laps. I always like to show folks watching at home a little bit different views of iRacing. You know, you always got your standard cams, but let's take a look here, see what the spotters are seeing on top of the huge grandstands here at Daytona. Oh, 1 car very slow, big time hits. Oh my goodness, that was some big hits for like the 9 of Jeff Barefoot. I don't know what happened to that slow car, but holy smokes, the closing rate. And that are some big time whacks here tonight to bring out this 8th yellow flag. We got to try and figure out what happened there, but holy smokes. That is a tough break for the Riptide Radio number 9 machine. So yeah, not sure what happened to, I believe it was the, I want to say the 80 or so. Trying to find out who was also involved there. But yeah, very, very weird how that car was that slow for that kind of closing rate, and absolutely no time for most of those drivers to react there. I'm trying to get a different view of the incident here, maybe try and slow it on down a little bit just to try and see what even happened. As yeah, it was the 8 machine of Matt Taylor. I'm going to go try and go back even further. And even that time, Taylor very, very slow. So here's at least Taylor coming off at turn number 4, and let's see if he has some sort of incident or what kind of happens, because he was in this first pack. Sorry, that was off of turn number 2, so gotta wait a little bit longer to see what happened to Taylor here as they start dicing it up in pack number 1, you know, trying to go from the back to the front. He'll go on the low line here, and oh, Delgado gets a little bit of help from the 88, and Taylor, yeah, hangs onto that race car once again. 88, great save. And then yeah, Matt Taylor very, very slow trying to get back up to speed, and then yeah, barefoot, absolutely nowhere to go. A car magically appears in front of him, and yeah, that will bring out yellow flag number 8. As we'll try and see one more time, maybe ride on board with barefoot, and as you can see there, absolutely nothing Jeff could do there. A car moves in front of him, and all of a sudden, surprise, a car right there as well. So a tough break for those drivers involved there. As once again, we see some strategy from pit road. Our race leader Kenny Reel and some others down on pit road, and we'll remerge back in the pack right around the 20th position. So that will take over the point to the WeatherTech number 54 machine, that being piloted by Bryce Shoemaker. As we may try and get a word with Jeff Barefoot if we can. If we go one to go here, we'll wait till next time by, but we'll see what race control has in store for us here. And yeah, it looks like we are choosing here. Everyone choosing the high line. 19 will jump down to the inside, so Shoemaker up in front will lead the field to the restart zone. Then it looks like the 19 of Jacob Bowen will lead the way on the inside lane here as we approach 20 laps to go. As you can see in the top left, already into the countdown clock. So we are inside of 25 to go. We'll see that all season long. And under our 8th yellow, I think we might have one more, at least one more in store before it's all said and done. If there is in fact another yellow, we'll try and talk to the driver of the number 9 machine. That, of course, Jeff Barefoot. So here we go for restart number 8 of the night. A totally new front row. Shoemaker will lead us to green with Bowen leading the inside lane. As the field gets ready to rock and roll, Shoemaker will jump on the loud pedal here, and we go back to green flag racing here with 21 laps left to go here at Daytona for the Riptide 250 being presented by Riptide Radio. Riptide Radio, of course, is the sounds of the salt, sand, and sea from Ocean Drive in North Myrtle Beach, South Carolina. Be sure to tune on in with their website. Just Google the classic Riptide Radio and that will take you there. You can also find a QR scanner as we get a yellow flag as everyone tries to avoid here heading into turn number 3, and we go under the yellow lights for the 9th time here. And I believe that may have started with this Ally number 48 Jimmy Johnson scheme. As we'll try and see what kicked off caution number 9. Oh man, it didn't even really involve Branham, as Branham kind of a innocent bystander as the inside lane gets checked up and the 20 gets sent off the nose of the 93. The 20 of Russell Martin Jr. just gets an awkward bump, and then the rest of the field having to try and squeeze on by and not get involved, as once again another handful of cars involved in a yellow. And I think some of these guys at the back have already used up their one fast repair, so we may see quite a bit more retirements before the night is said and done, as I believe we have about the top 30 still on the lead lap. I think 2 cars 1 lap down, one being the 31 of Delgado we saw involved in caution number 8 here. So as we see a handful of takers down on pit road, one being the 12 of Cody Brewer, another being the 7 of Eric Holly. We haven't talked too much about Holly here, but into his pit stall, of course, the 48 machine down to get some repairs done on that car. So most of the field staying on out, so Shoemaker will continue to lead the way over Frank Zingen. Jason Wiley is in 3rd. 4th is Steve Ritter, and Nick Larson rounding out the top 5 here. So Victor will get the lucky dog that time by. That will move the 80 machine up back onto the lead lap. That leaves only Delgado at the moment 1 lap down. So and under our 9th yellow, we're going to once again throw it over to our partners with Premier Setup for their quick insert. We'll be right back to Daytona after a quick 30 seconds. Alrighty, folks, back at the Daytona International Speedway here. And Bryce Shoemaker once again leading the field to green, and Jacob Bowen from about 5th on the speedway will once again choose this inside lane, hoping to try and maybe find some magic on this restart. Gain a couple more spots now inside of 20 to go. We'll see some intensity probably ratcheted up to that 90% mark. With this yellow, I think I'll let the cars do the talking on the restart. We'll at least give the command back to green, but after that, we'll go throw it once again back to a turn 3, turn it up. Let the cars do some talking here as these guys get wound back up to 200 and even over 200 miles an hour here at Daytona. As the sun is set, the lights are on, and the stage couldn't be bigger for 41 drivers at the Riptide Radio 802 Cup Series. So here we go. Shoemaker will lead the field back to green, and here we go on the loud pedal. 17 laps to go. Alrighty, folks, we come back here with some commentary. Hopefully you can feel that energy through the screen, because this pack has a lot of that as these guys continue to close in to tonight's race end. Bryce Shoemaker leading the way up on the top lane. Jacob Bowen still trying to get something going on the inside lane. Now 3 wide as Levi Hellman will make a move to the middle here. Hellman with a little bit of side draft off of the 2. Ritter will see that in the mirror. He will go down to the inside lane. It is on here with 15 laps to go. I mean, we talked to Levi there sometime tonight, and he said lap 15 was the go time, and that's exactly what he is doing as he is trying to push Steve Ritter in that Leaf Guard number 16 Mustang to the lead. Mustang versus Camry on the front rows leading their respective lanes. The question is, when does that third lane form? With 15 to go, if you're 15th or so, you got to start thinking about it here sooner than later. As old contact, the 97 will get sent down to the apron. That is Jeff Pogo. Pogo will get that thing under control, and looks like we'll lose the draft, but that, once again, a yellow that could have been, as here we go, 3 wide race in the 33, 46, and 13. Stuck in a 3 wide battle. That's Austin Smith down low, Wiley up time, and Raposa in the middle of the sandwich here. Wiley will get a piece of the wall, able to get it back off of the wall, and hopefully get the draft now of the 4 of Jim Ott. Out in front though, Shoemaker down low, Ritter up top, so those guys have changed lanes here. Man, oh man, it's about to be a barn burner here with 13 laps to go. We're going to take a look once again at the blimp view and just try and take a look at this pack. As you can see, starting to spread on out around the 15th position. So those guys from 15th on back need to turn it back up to try and catch back up if they can. As now Levi Hellman back leading the inside lane. Shoemaker up on top. Shoemaker has a lot more cars in his row, so a little bit more energy up on top. But man, oh man, Levi getting a great push from the 19th of Jacob Bowen. They will get clear of the top side. The question is, do they stay down low? Do they go up top? Man, oh man, tough decisions to be had with 12 to go here tonight. Wow, what a save by Levi there. You saw his car all out of sorts, and both Levi and Bowden both move up top. I don't know if on purpose together, but somehow Levi able to keep that car straight and still out in front here with 11 to go. Thank you, Super Duck, for the pronunciation correction. I'm sure I'll be chatting with a lot of drivers after tonight and double checking how to say names, but here we go as we approach 10 laps to go. Raposa down on top. Sorry, down on the low side. Heilman up on top. Continues to lead the way. What does the likes of Bowen, Shoemaker, Ritter, and even like Chris Taylor and stuff, all those drivers have a ticket, but who will be the one driver to punch it? Yeah, you can see the pushes are getting more and more aggressive. These cars getting more and more out of shape because drivers at this point not lifting as much. Let's ride on board with Shoemaker, see what he is seeing with all the movement around. Here with now 9 to go. As you can see, not much to be seen out in front as Shoemaker third in line here, but in that rear view mirror, cars going around as we hit our 10th yellow of the night. We have now made it into double digits on the yellow flag counter. Gonna try and see what happened there. A injured number 4 car, that is Jim Ott, so we'll try and see what caused caution number 10. So a little bit of 3 wide racing, and oh man, Victor got a piece of the wall, yanked the car off, and then it looked like it just never got settled and continued to wiggle back and forth just a little bit to just clip the right rear quarter panel of the number 4 machine. Looks like we'll end the night of Jim Ott, as I believe Victor will try and continue, but a tough break there as Ott didn't do anything too wrong. I mean, a little high on the speedway, but moves on down, but you can see Victor just never quite got 100% control of that race car before making contact with that number 4. As we can see Ott down on pit road, and man, oh man, Levi Heilman leading the way here with inside of 8 laps to go. By the time we get green, it will probably be a 6-lap shootout to decide who is walking away with the checkered flag for the Riptide Radio Next Gen Cup Series opener at Daytona. I have a feeling unless a car has damage, it will be a pretty barren pit road, as everyone knows the name of the game here on out will be the all-important track position. But the question is, if you're the likes of Steve Ritter, Jacob Bowman, Eli Raposa, which line do you choose? I would assume Levi will choose the high lane, but everyone else, where do you go? We saw the high lane be where it's at all race long, but here in this point, it's all about who you want to work with coming down to that checkered flag. Looks like the 55 of Mike Babinchak getting another lap back here. Babinchak involved in quite a few early yellow flags, still out there, and has moved up to at least the 33rd position, so not as bad as it could have been. But once again, got to thank all of the series sponsors for another great season of racing to come for season number 5. That, of course, being Riptide Radio, BG Graphix, Out of the Woods Crafts, DTL Custom Graphics, Leaf Guard. Thank you, all of the support. And, of course, kind of the unsung heroes, let's say, of the series. That, of course, going to the likes of Rob Lowell, Brandon Guerin, Frank Zingen, all of those guys to make this series happen and do all the work on the back end of admins. So it looks like Shoemaker, the first to choose the bottom, top 4, all choosing the top. Man, oh man, that now moves Chris Taylor in this 88 National Guard. We saw Taylor have a lot of great saves, a lot of moments this race, but now gets to start on the inside of row number 2. As once we go back green flag racing, it will be 5 to go, and pretty much aggressive meter clicked all the way to the right. It's turned up to 110%. It is going to be all take and no give from here on out, because everyone wants to get this coveted checkered flag from Daytona. So Heilman, Shoemaker will make up the front row, row number 2. It may be more important row, especially in these late stages, the pushers. That'll be Steve Ritter and Chris Taylor. Here we go, 5-lap shootout. To see who will walk away with the bragging rights to say they won the only race so far this season. The iRacing pace car will once again make its way down to pit road, and Heilman will lead us to green, and here we go. A little bit of a stack up further on back. Everyone's so far able to keep it rolling, but that could have been very bad very quickly, especially being all bunched up like they were. So here we go, folks. Inside of now 5 laps to go. The outside still formed up a little bit better. Chris Taylor will leave Shoemaker out to dry in the middle. Now Chris Taylor will take over the point on the inside lane. Man, oh man, this is exactly what the top side wanted to see. Inside not formed up at all, losing handful of spots very, very quickly as they see their race continue to slide on away unless they can figure out something here very quickly. Howman out in front, Steve Ritter right on his back bumper. Then it is Jacob Bowe and Eli Raposa. Jason Wiley rounding out the top 5 here with 4 to go. New taker on the inside lane. That would be the 2 of Nick Larson, getting a lot of help from the number 12 of Cody Brewer. So these two seem to be working very well together, at least tracking in the right direction. Do they have enough time? Who else will dive down low here? Because you can't just all ride up on the top lane there as Larson gets big time out of sorts off of turn number 4. Larson will be able to hang on to that Ford Mustang here, and we will see 3 to go at the stripe. Man, oh man, folks, it is about to get crazy here. As Kenny Reel has reeled his way back into the top 10 here. Reel sits P number 7. Kind of the first car side by side with that inside lane there. As a big checkup from the high lane, that allows Nick Larson now to get even almost with Heilman here with 3 to go. As here we go, we got them wrecking in the back. We will stay green at the moment somehow, but there it is a second time. That will bring it out for a green-white checkered. At the stripe we saw 2 to go, but that didn't last long as that started pretty early and continued for quite a way. Started with the 48-42, and I believe that is the 29 as well. Those guys kind of kicked it on off. Gonna try and get a little bit further back if I can, just to see what happened, if there's some sort of net code that forced those 3 together, or looked almost maybe like the 29 moving on up just a little bit, not realizing they were 3 wide. That started the calamity, let's say, and then continued to go as they head out of the trial. Chris Taylor will get turned by the, I think, 54 there, and then everyone else just ping-ponging off of each other. As man, oh man, now this sets up a green-white checkered here tonight. So if the intensity last time was ramped up to, let's say, 110%, now we'll see a complete 200%. As everyone knows, it's a sprint to the finish. It's all about making that one right move to end up in victory lane here tonight with a green-white checkered in front of these drivers. Heilman will have his eyes glued to that rear view mirror. We kind of had the dilemma with 2 to go. Now it's even more important. Next time by will be the choose line. And if you're the likes of Steve Ritter, Jacob Bauman, Nick Larson, Cody Brewer, which lane do you choose? As man, oh man, it all comes down to this. Overall, hopefully you guys have been enjoying this race, and this is of course only race number 1 of 21 for the 802 iRacing Riptide Radio Next Gen Cup Series. Next Sunday night, these drivers will take on the Monster Mile. That is Dover Raceway. Of course, you can catch all the action right here on the Turn 3 Racing Network. Same time, same place next week. You won't want to miss it, as that track very, very difficult, especially with the asphalt down on the track. It is very, very line sensitive, very sensitive to temperature in your tires. So we'll see who can save tires, and more importantly, who can outduel Miles the Monster. Here at the line, probably the most important choose of the night. We will see Levi Heilman choose the high side. Same with Steve Ritter and Bowen. That will now leave Nick Larson and the 12 of Cody Brewer to make up the inside row. Man, oh man, it is about to get crazy as the field will re-rack, restack another time here tonight at Daytona. And intensity up at 100%. These drivers know what is at stake. They know what is on the line. And they know chaos is coming. They just hope to have it in the rear view mirror. Levi Heilman leading the field to green up on the outside row. Inside row will be made up of Nick Larson in the 2. Then row number 2, the 16 leaf guard machine of Steve Ritter. Then we have the 12 of Cody Brewer. Right now, Brewer and Jacob Bowen tied for the biggest movers, both up a whopping 29 positions from where they started. And don't go anywhere after the race, folks. We got an exciting finish coming on up, and then interviewing the top 3 finishers. So especially if your driver finishes there, you won't want to miss it. As the iRacing pace car heads down pit road, Heilman leads us back to green flag. Here we go for a green-white checkered. Heilman and Larson both break away from their line, so going to be a lot of momentum. Here comes Jason Wiley forcing the issue. 3 wide here tonight. Wiley will make up the middle lane. Here we go, folks. 2 to go. If these leaders see the white flag, these guys are racing back to the line. If they don't, it's still gonna be another attempt as they are wrecking in the back. Yellow flag back out. It looks like, was it Heilman or Ritter out in front? We'll try and find out as we go back under the caution flag here for another time. Man, that looked like some big hits for some of these drivers out there here, as we'll try and find out where this yellow flag started here for the 12th time here tonight. Yeah, it looks like the 8 and 23 just running out of room. Once again, the 20, a little bit of an innocent bystander. Man, the 23 goes for a heck of a ride there. All 4 tires off the ground. Luckily, that thing stayed upright, but man, What a big impact for Max Milazzo. As Mac Milazzo there. Big hits to multiple walls there. We're going to try and ride one more time with the 23 and maybe see what he saw there. As man, some big hits for this 23 machine. You hear the motor blowing. His night is sadly done here just before the conclusion as we now head over to overtime here tonight. So it looks like they scored the 16 of Steve Ritter just in front of Levi there. So Ritter will lead the field back to green flag here for this restart. And Steve Ritter last season ran most of the races, had to sadly miss quite a few, but he was the third of only 3 drivers to score multiple wins last season with 2 to his name. He's trying to start off season 5 on the perfect note, adding another notch in that column. And of course, with Leaf Guard on the car, we got to give a huge shout out to Leaf Guard of Vermont coming on board with the $5 for every pole position in all 21 races this season. So got to give them a huge shout out. Also, another really cool thing this league does is Riptide Radio gives $5 to a randomized driver that finishes outside of the top 5. So it may help a night that has gone bad brighten it up just that little bit more. As this time by, we will see choose Steve Ritter, Levi Heilman will choose high. That will move Jacob Bowen to lead inside of row number 1. Kyle Peacock with a great choose. He will be row number 2 on the inside, so these drivers will get slotted into the correct lines as we get the field to bunch on up as we get another attempt at overtime with another green-white checkered to be had. Man, oh man, if you're the likes of Steve Ritter, probably even a little bit of Levi Heilman, as I'm sure he would love to win, or even, Jacob Bowen, they kind of want to see this race just come to a conclusion, walk out of here with a great points day, a great finish, but we still have to turn these guys loose at least one more time here. Alrighty, the field is re-racked and restacked and ready to rock and roll. The iRacing pace car will once again head down to pit road front row, Ritter, Bowen. Here we go. As Bowen gets away with a great launch. He got tapped just at the perfect time, and he'll lead the way as the field will dive down into turn number 1, side by side, 2 by 2 for the whole pack. Man, oh man, those bumps are becoming to get very, very aggressive here. No one's lifting from here on out. As we can see these cars wibble wobbling. There's some more. Steve Ritter, Levi Hellman, they will get together. The 83 will go around in big one heading into turn number 3. Man, oh man, they continue to pile on in. That was the big one to strike here late here tonight. As I think that will end the race, at least by my scoring. I think only 2 attempts. We'll find out here, but we got to first see what happened out in the back. Alrighty, we got to jump even further back than this. As man, oh man, we watch live with the Calamity. The 63, Matt Cost with great wreck avoidance there. We're going to ride one more time. Let's ride on board with Cost and see what he saw. But yeah, contact with the leaders of the top row there to start that on off, and then everyone else just trying to drive through it for the finish. And man, what a great wreck avoidance by who were riding with the 63 of Matt Cost. And here we go at the stripe under the yellow flag. The race win will go to the 19 of Jacob Bowen, who had that in his bingo card. Top 3 will be Steve Ritter and Levi Heilman will round out that. We'll be talking to those drivers after the race, but big congrats for Jacob Bowen here tonight. We'll try and maybe see out in front a little bit slowed down, see how Bowen got the lead. You can see up top Ritter and Heilman get together there, with Bowman being on the inside lane in just the right spot. You can see them wrecking all behind him, and that was the move there. Bowman picking the inside lane. That was the move. So we will keep our eyes on Bowen here as he heads back to the front stretch. We'll let him do some celebratory burnouts if he would like. And then after that, we have the post-race show and chat with the top 3. And here he is of the Bass Pro Shops number 19 machine. A little bit of tribute to Martin Truex, who retired this season. Jacob Bowen walking away with the first checkered flag of the season. Alrighty, folks, we'll go to our commercial here. After that, don't go anywhere. We'll be talking to the top 3 right after a short break.
iRacing is a sim racing game that combines a true-to-life racing experience with an online community of virtual racers from all around the globe. iRacing offers a multitude of officially licensed cars and tracks, laser scanned with millimeter accuracy. Their car models and mechanical systems are based on real-world physics, engineered in cooperation with manufacturers and race teams. Their skill license system ranges from rookie to pro, ensuring members are always pitted against those with similar skill sets. Members are able to sign up for a weekly race series, compete in time trials, host a private race with friends, and participate in racing leagues created and run by the community. With over 170,000 members, iRacing works in partnership with renowned motorsports organizations like NASCAR to deliver virtual races based on the real-life NASCAR Cup Series, as well as many other series on the NASCAR ladder. iRacing also features team racing, providing a variety of options for members to create and manage their own teams. Race with friends or real-world teammates in full-length endurance events like the 24 Hours of Daytona, Spa 24, or the Bathurst 12 Hour. Additional partners include IMSA, World of Outlaws, Supercars, and IndyCar, allowing members to race in their very own Indianapolis 500, Bathurst 1000, Chili Bowl, and many more iconic events. This is iRacing, delivering the most authentic racing experience short of getting into a real race car. Sign up today at iRacing.com.
Alrighty, folks, we come back here to the post-race show and talking to our podium finishers. First up, we'll have the 22 machine of Levi Heilman. Levi, do you got a copy? It's Brett the Jet in the booth here.
I got a copy.
Alrighty, man. How was the race overall, walking away with a P3? I mean, good points night. I know you wanted that win very bad. What did it come down to there at the end?
It came down to me trying to look for myself to be clear, and I just completely botched that whole finish by tapping Steve in the back and turning him a little bit.
Yeah, it looked like just, racing at the end of a super speedway, everyone trying to go where a car is not, and that is very, very difficult to do at 200 miles an hour.
Yeah, I was so blind just trying to get in front of Jacob so he could push me maybe to a win. But like I said, I was just gave him a small tap, and it was just enough to wreck the whole field, and had a great race overall. I'd say 7 out of 10, 7.5, and ready for next week for Dover.
Yeah, and speaking about next week at Dover, how do you feel about that place? I know you hopefully you had a good time here tonight. How do you feel about Dover with that place being a little bit more aggressive on tires?
Yeah, I had a great time tonight. I think at Dover I'll do pretty good saving tires for a bit, but I'm not the best, so I think there'll be more cautions probably. And yeah, I mean, we'll see what happens. I bet I could win there too, maybe.
There you go. That would be awesome to see, as Levi kind of looking forward to, a lot of different tracks on the schedule. I mean, which is the one you're looking forward to the most?
Is there Kansas on the schedule? If there's Kansas, it's definitely Kansas. I'm very good at Kansas. There's not.
Yeah, I was gonna say, does not look like there's Kansas on there.
I'm gonna say Charlotte or Las Vegas maybe. Those two are pretty good as well.
Yeah, those are another good drivers tracks in both of those. So awesome to hear, Levi. Well, once again, congrats on the third position. What I like to do, especially first time interviewing someone, is ask them what their sim setup's like. What you got, what are you looking at, whether it's VR, monitor, triple monitors, and of course the hardware you're using, to give a little insight to those watching at home.
So I'm on a 34-inch stretch monitor with 165 hertz. I got a Moza R5 with the shifter, the pedals and I got a wheel frame. Not one at the seat, not yet at least, but just a frame, and then I got a slot for my office chair. And like I said, the monitor's on my desk, so a little basic, but it gets the job done.
Yeah, and that wheel's a pretty good one. I mean, overall, how do you think of the Moza?
The Moza's amazing. I've never had a direct drive before, but I upgraded from the Logitech in February, I think, and I wouldn't say I got better, but there's definitely a difference in how I drive, how I react. Like, if I was on the Logitech still when I got loose earlier and I was getting wiggles, I probably would not have saved it. But I did and got it down to P3 tonight.
Yeah, awesome stuff by you all night long, Levi. Definitely one of the front runners in contention, it seemed like, to win all night long. Before we let you go and celebrate the third position, let's say, I'm going to go hand over the mic to you and give a shout out. Who you got to shout out? I know a lot of fans tuning on into the broadcast and maybe some sponsors on the car
Shout
as well.
out. Yeah, shout out to my friend Hayden. He was watching the broadcast, and then Super Duck is my dad. Shout out to him as well. He came down to the last caution and was giving me, not advice, but cheering me on. Shout out to RSW Graphix, 81 Racewear, Sim Motion Racing, and YOB.
Alrighty, well, awesome stuff. Levi walking out of here with a bunch of points here for that championship, and I think overall a pretty successful night. So you have a great rest of your night, and we'll talk to you later.
You too.
Alrighty, have a good one.
Yeah.
Alrighty, that was our third place finisher, Levi Heilman. Now we head up to our runner-up finisher, that being the 16 of Steve Ritter. Steve, do you got a copy?
I do. Brett, how you doing?
Pretty good. How about yourself, man? Up and down night for you, and to walk away with P number 2 has to feel good, but has to feel like it's missing a little bit as well.
Yeah, I always come to these super speedway races hoping just to go clean and be there at the end, and we were definitely there at the end tonight. Just missed by one spot, but Jacob ran a great race, as well as Heilman, so I can't take anything away from them guys. That was a good job by both of them.
Yeah, it seemed like some fantastic racing all night long towards the front. I mean, you got to start on the pole, walking away with the Leaf Guard pole position award, and get to see some clean track in front of you, and to end up P2, I would say pretty successful from where you started and where you finished standpoint.
Yeah. I mean, when you start up front, finish up front, that's always a good thing. We did get back a little bit there. I lost the draft at one point. We were kind of back in 25th, 26th, and just a little bit of strategy got ourselves back up into the front through some strategic pit stops, and yeah, worked out all right.
Yeah, that it did. I'm going to consider you one of the veterans of the league. A lot of rookies this season, I think around 28 of them last season, picking up 2 wins in total with your kind of part-time schedule. What's the outlook for this season? What are the goals? And
Yeah, it's the goal at the very beginning of the season was to win a championship, flat out. That's what we're gunning for, and it still is. I had a little wrench thrown in the works here. I have to move in the middle of the season to Ohio from Vermont, so hopefully I don't miss too much. Hopefully we only miss a couple weeks, which will work out well. But yeah, the goal is definitely win a championship, and tonight, kind of came out, won the pole, and then to finish in second is not a bad start.
no, it is not, because you get some bonus points for, I think, winning the pole and, of course, lead some laps, and then to finish second, only one spot off, but at a super speedway, that's as close to a win as they come.
Yeah, I'll take it. Yep.
And we have a decent amount of viewers out here. I know I've asked you this before, but I like to at least do it at least once a season. Steve, is ask you about your sim setup. What you got? What are you looking at? And what kind of hardware do you have in front of you?
Yeah, I got a iBuyPower computer, i7 Ryzen, 8 core, running a RTX 4060 Ti. Three 27-inch monitors, G Pro wheel, Fanatic V3 pedals, button box by DSD. I don't think I missed anything there. Pro headset.
Nice. So yeah, definitely one of the more complete setups. I know I love my triples, and when I tell people, I'm like, it's definitely a game changer, especially when you race so close to other cars, like we saw tonight.
Oh, definitely. Yeah. I've been racing with triples for I can't remember even how long now, but I don't think I could ever go back to one or even two monitors.
Yeah, it definitely is a big time game changer. Well, Steve, first I want to thank you for coming on board with that sponsorship with the Leaf Guard partnership. Really do appreciate it. And I'm sure all the league members do as well. But now it's time to have you give the congratulations. So we're going to hand you over the mic, and you can thank who you got to thank, either tuning on in or on the car as well.
Yeah, just all my teammates at Wolfpack. This is my first season with those guys, and definitely got some help from them tonight. So I appreciate that. The paint jobs that I think it's Jeff or Dave that does those. I'm not exactly sure, but the paint jobs look great, and thank you to those guys. Riptide Radio, obviously, for being the title sponsor. BG Graphics, Brandon does a great job with his paint jobs, and obviously you, Brett, for doing what you do. I mean, this is all why we do it, right? Is to put on a good show and a good broadcast. And thank you for what you do.
I'm just a guy out here commentating the great racing that you guys put on. So you guys are the real MVPs each and every week. So got to shout out you and all the rest of the drivers in this series. So Steve, you have yourself a great rest of the night, and we'll catch you next week at the Monster Mile.
Sounds good. Thanks, Brett. And folks, don't let Brett fool you. He kicked my butt at the Monster Mile, so he's a hell of a driver too.
Yeah, we do a little bit of racing in our free time, but this broadcasting stuff's fun as well. So thanks for the shout out, Steve. You have yourself a great rest of the night.
You too, man. Take care.
Alrighty, folks, that was our runner-up finisher, Steve Ritter, in the Leaf Guard number 16 machine. And now we'll head down to Victory Lane and talk to the man of the hour. It is the driver of the number 19 Bass Pro Shops, Jacob Bowen. Jacob, you got a copy?
I got you, boss.
Alrighty, man. How does it feel to be walking away with the checkered flag here at Daytona after the night you had?
I'd say it feels pretty good. I started way in the back and got caught up in most of everything early, so being able to walk away up front feels good.
Yeah, and like you said, being caught up in those first things, I mean, how did that change the game plan? And the other thing I got to ask, did you use one of those fast repairs?
I had to. Whatever, I don't remember what lap it was on. I think it was 50 something. I was involved in a bigger wreck and had to come down pit road and take the fast repair. I had damage before that on my nose when the 62 spun across my front end, and that was already slowing me down, and it just got so much worse after that big one.
Yeah, that never helps. Luckily, a fast repair available, and you use that to your advantage. Looks like keeping that car nice and clean to the end here. And speaking about that end, I mean, the choice to pick the inside lane, I think the winning move of the race here tonight.
I was planning on sticking with Levi because we're teammates and all, but last second he made the choice to go high, and I was already dedicated down to the bottom, so it was a plan gone sideways that ended up working out very well. The 83 gave me a great push. He got me out of that 3 wide just before the caution that caused that last green white checkered, and then he gave me a great push that sent me out front when the caution came out.
Yeah, that it did. You were in the right place at the right time, Jacob, and I tell you what, heck of a win here. And man, oh man, I mean, looking at it, you were the biggest mover here tonight, up 33 positions from where you started. I mean, qualifying super close, but what was kind of the game plan? I know it involved in all those wrecks, but I mean, that had to change a lot, and kind of that strategy to try and get to the front. What was the biggest thing that helped you to get to the front, let's say?
I am going to be 100% honest with you. I don't know what brought me to the front or how I got there, but I'm very lucky that it did. I I think it was one of those restarts, everyone goes high, and I was able to just choose low and drive all the way down there to the first row.
Well, that is awesome. The cards maybe at first didn't seem to fall your way, but it seemed like second half of the race was a race that was heavily in your favor, Jacob. And looking at the schedule here, I mean, any races you kind of have circled or looking forward to?
Honestly, nothing that I'm looking ahead for a win or to try and keep myself up front. Everything on the schedule seems like something I can just place consistently in, and that's the hope for this season.
Yeah, great goal there is finish consistent. You know, I always like to say if I'm talking to the broadcaster after the race, that's a great night of racing, let's say.
Oh yeah, it is always one of the best parts when you get to talk to somebody at the end.
Yeah, that it is, Jacob. Well, I like to ask, especially first time interviewing someone, ask them about their sim setup. You know, what are you looking at and what kind of hardware do you have in front of you?
I have a G920 with an H pattern shifter that I don't get to use for these cars, but oh well. Sitting on my wooden desk in my college dorm room.
There you go. So nice and bare bones. You love to hear it, especially after picking up a win to show, you know, it's not all about these $3,000 setups that all these people brag about, right?
Oh yeah, they would definitely be nice, but I think I might get hurt by the roommate and all my friends if I tried to shove something like that in here.
Oh yeah. Those college dorm rooms are tight in space to begin with. And if you don't mind me asking, where are you going to college right now?
I'm at Utah Valley University in Orem/Provo, Utah.
Okay, awesome stuff, Jacob. Well, once again, huge congrats on the win here tonight. I'm sure you'll be partying up, hopefully not keeping up the suite mates and the roommates and whatnot. But before we let you go, Jacob, for the first win of the season, we're going to go hand the mic over to you and thank who you got to thank down in Victory Lane.
I mean, I wouldn't be here without Levi. He got me all the way up front. Kyle right there in the 83 definitely pushed me. He got me out ahead on that win. My amazing girlfriend who always watches and supports, she's awesome as well. And the rest of my teammates who may not have actually gotten to see in my car a whole lot tonight, but they were definitely moral support.
Awesome stuff, Jacob. Yep, these racing, especially super speedways, is a team effort and no one person can do it alone. So Jacob, you have yourself a great night. We'll get wrapped up in the booth and I'll be heading down to the 19 hauler, let's say, after the race, go party with you for the after party.
Heck yeah, man.
Alrighty, Jacob, you have yourself a great rest of the night and congrats on the win again.
Thank you for broadcasting. We'll see you, boss.
Alrighty, folks, from Victory Lane, that was Jacob Bowen picking up the first win of season number 5 of the Riptide Radio Next Gen Cup Series. Well, folks, that will do it for the racing action. We'll go through tonight's finishing order, but first, I got to thank some people. And that's, of course, all you guys tuning on in. We had some great numbers tuning on in. Be sure to tune in next week as all these drivers will take on Miles at Dover. So you won't want to miss that. Thanks again for all the people in the chat, keeping me entertained, giving me heads up, and let me know who you're rooting for. It does go a long way. It helps me pick out some drivers to show, of course, on the broadcast. So race results are in. Let's take a look at those. So picking up the win will be the number 19 Toyota Camry. That is, of course, Jacob Bowen. Second place will be the number 16 of Steve Ritter. Rounding out the podium, who we also talked to, is Levi Heilman in the 22. Finishing fourth in a great effort will be the 12 of Cody Brewer. Finishing P number 5 will be the number 2 of Nick Larson. Finishing 6 will be the 11 of Kenny Reel. 7th going to the 97 of Jeff Pogo. 8th is the 46 of Eli Raposa. 9th is Matt Taylor in the number 8. Rounding out the top 10 with that great wreck avoidance we saw there at the end will be the 63 of Matt Cost. Finishing in P number 11 will be the 42 of Dustin Coggin. 12th will be John Ross in the 44. 13th will go to Christian Delgado. 14th is Isaac Mock in the 47. Rounding out the top 15 will be Justin Branaham in the 58. 16th going to the 90 of Steve Holmes. 17th will be the 7 car of Eric Holly. 18th will go to Kyle Peacock in the 83. A tough break for him as Peacock was running in pretty much 3rd position when that last yellow fell. 19th will go to Bryce Shoemaker in the 54. And rounding out the top 20 will be the 28 of David Lomaga. 21st will go to the 29 of Dave Mayberry. 22nd is the 33 of Austin Smith. 23rd will go to the 15th of Emilio Romario. 24th is Chris Taylor in the 69. 25th is Rob Lowe in the 21. 26 will be the 13 of Jason Wiley. Then we have the 62 car of Frank Ziggin in 27th. 28th is the 55 of Mike Babachak. 29th is Jim Ott in the 4. And rounding out the 30th position will be the 20 of Russell Martin. 31st is the 6 of Johnny Barker. 32nd is Ron O'Lusley. 33rd is Max Mazzao. 34th is Cliff Adams. 35th is Robert Denton. 36th is Victor Flugger. 37th, Ariba Canton. 38th, going to Jeff Barefoot. 39th is Cameron Robertson. 40th will be Brandon Guerin. And rounding out the field tonight will be Dan Dill. So thanks again, everyone, for tuning on in. I am Brett the Jet in the booth with Turn 3 Racing Network. Turn 3, of course, partnered with Premier Setup Shop. You can find all what you need for some of the best sets with the link in the description. That will take you over to Premier. They also do custom video work and sell wraps as well. So be sure to check them out for any of your needs. Be sure to tune in next week as we go to Dover, where we'll see these drivers do battle here once again. Be sure to also tune in to Tuesday nights with Roger Muth in the booth with the 802 small block East Coast modifieds. Some of these drivers will be seen over there, and they always put on a great show on the dirt side of things. I want to thank everyone again, and you guys all take care, stay safe, stay healthy, and we'll catch you on the flip side. I have been Brett the Jet in the booth, and I just flew by you. Have a good one.